in politics. It so happens that if there's an institution in Great Britain which is not susceptible of any change whatsoever, it's the House of Peers. When Britain really ruled the waves in good Queen Bess's time, the House of Peers made no pretense to intellectual eminence or scholarship sublime. Yet Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days. Yet Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days.
Charming persons, are they not?
Self-contained dignity combined with the airy condescension give me a British representative here.
Then pray, stop this protege of yours before it's too late. Think of the mischief you're doing.
But we can't stop him now. Aren't they lovely? Why did you go and defy us, you great geese? Invent to what you please. Don't go. Don't go. The true we sigh, but don't suppose the tearful heart forgiveness shows. Oh no.
We're very cross indeed, yes, very cross.
Don't go. It's true we sigh, but don't suppose the tearful heart forgiveness shows. Oh no. We're very cross indeed, yes, very cross. Don't go.
Our disrespectful sneers, ha ha, our indignant tears, ha ha. If that's the case, my dears,
Don't go.
we'll go.
Shame! Shame upon you! This is fidelity to the laws which you are bound to obey. Know ye not that it is death to marry a mortal?
Yes, that it's not death to wish to marry a mortal.
Word, you'd have to execute them all. Oh, it's weakness, subdue it. Oh, we know it's weakness, but the weakness is so strong.
We're not all as tough as you are.
Do you think that I am insensible to the effect of manly beauty? Look at that man. Perfect picture. Who are you, sir?
Private Willis, B Company, 1st Grenadier Guards.
You're a very fine fellow, sir.
I am generally admired.
I can quite understand it. Now here's a man whose physical attributes are simply godlike. If I were to yield to a natural impulse, I should throw myself down at his feet and worship that man. But I wrestle with this inclination. I subdue it. I lay it beneath my feet. That is how I treat my regard for that man.
and I am the other.
My own. Have you decided which one it is to be?
Not altogether. It's a difficult position. It would hardly be dealt with a toss-up. On the whole, we would rather leave it up to you.
How can it possibly concern me? You're both rich. You're both earls. And you're both plain.
Ah, so we are.
So am I.
No, no.
Oh, I am indeed very plain.
Well, perhaps you are.
There's really nothing to choose between. If one of you were to forgo his title and distribute his estates among the Irish tenantry, why then I would have reason for accepting the other.
Taller? Are you prepared to make the sacrifice?
No.
Not even to oblige a lady?
No, not even to oblige a lady.
Then the only question is, which of us shall give in to the other? Perhaps on the whole she'd be happier with me. I don't know. I may be wrong.
I don't know that you are. I really believe she would. The outward part of the thing is that if you rob me of the girl of my heart, we must fight, and one of us must die. It's a family tradition I have sworn to respect. It's a painful position for me. I have a strong regard for you, George.
My dear Tom.
George, you are very dear to me. We were boys together. At least I was. Survive here, my existence would be hopelessly embittered.
Then you must not do it. I say it again and again. If it will have this effect on you, you must not do it. No, no. If one of us is to destroy the other, let it be me.
No, no.
Ah, yes. By our boyish friendship, I implore you.
Well, be it so. But no, no. I cannot consent to an act that would crush you with unrevealing remorse.
But it would not do so. I should be very sad at first. Oh, who wouldn't be? But I should get over it. I have a very strong regard for you, Tom. But perhaps not as much as you like me.
George, you're a noble fellow. But that telltale tear betrays you. No, George, I cannot consent to give you a week's uneasiness in my account.
Oh, but it would not last a week. Remember, you leave the House of Peers, and on your demise, I shall take your place. Oh, Thomas, it would not last a day.
No, I hope you're not going to fight about me, because it really isn't worth it.
No, I don't believe it is.
Nor I. The sacred bonds of friendship are paramount.
Though perhaps I may hear you today, things are to you I would not keep friendships.
And I should say I think the same. Not even love should rank above true friendship's name.
This crazy, crazy mind, forget your praise and go your ways in friendship's name. In friendship's name.
Oh, many a man in friendship's name has wielded fortune, rank, and fame, but no one yet so blessed so wide has yielded up a promised bride.
Love, unrequited, robs me of my rest. Love, hopeless love, my heart and soul encumbers. Love, nightmare-like, lies heavy on me chest, and weaves itself into my midnight slumber.
Lying awake with a dismal headache, and my anxiety, I consume your ears and you make what you choose to indulge in without impropriety. Your brain is on fire, the banquets inspire the usual slumber to flood you. But your contemplate goes and the clubs, your toes and shifts, you merely from under you. And the blanketing tickles you like mixed pickles, your tail is sharp as a prick. And your heart crosses you tone, close to the stomach, makes you from the tickling. And the blanketing creep to the ground, and you get your finger all up in the tangle. That your numerous eyes flame and clench, remain at its usual angle. You get them opposing the form that builds the rivals, head of aching. But your slumbering dreams, such horrible dreams, do very much meant to be waking. You're giving your heart to the chin, lost in the mouth, and steaming from howling, which is something between the lunch-bathing machine and a very small second-class carriage. You're giving a treat, and the icicle beat, you'll polish your friends and relations. The ravenous horde, and they all came on board at some squares of sensation. And learn on a journey, you find your turn, you start that morning from Devon. He's a man in the stylish, you know, he's a pious, you tell me, only 11. We're driving my friend to the singular life by the blind, she's proud four-wheeler. And you're playing with games to be close by nature, tell me kind of deal. But this you got, does you throw your head, fight, cold as icicle. And you're searching your suspects over the marks tree. From the green rose tree, you get crazy, you love pineapple and cranberries. Oh, these branch right granule, pineapple, possum, corn, bananas. The shells are painted, never so many, I'll take my rock, tell it bag. And just as if you were unlucky to you, you awake with a shot in his bear. Your heart's regular with the good year, neck, you know what you snow, your head on the wall, you lose the pain, you're so audition. But the if you love the thing, the crabby, don't get fired up. The love you love when the neighbors talk with the place, the heads and general said, did you have it with me? Darkness is past, daylight is lost, the night is being long until you tell my song. And thank goodness they're both alone. My lords, it is seldom that a Lord Chancellor has reason to envy the position of another, but I am free to confess. I would rather be 2 earls engaged to Phyllis than any other half-dozen noblemen upon the face of the globe.
Yes, it is an enviable position when nearly only one.
Ah, yes, no doubt most enviable. But seeing you thus, we naturally say to ourselves, this is very sad. His lordship is constitutionally as blithe as a bird. He trills upon the bench like a thing of song and gladness. His judgments in F sharp, given on Dante in 6/8 time, are among the most remarkable feats ever produced in a court of chancery. He is perhaps the only living instance of a judge whose decrees have earned him the high honor of a double encore. How could we do that which would deprive the court of chancery of one of its most attractive features?
I feel the force of your remarks, but I am here in 2 capacities, and they clash, my lords, they clash. I deeply grieve to say that in failing to entertain my last application to myself, I presume to address myself in terms which rendered it impossible for me ever to apply to myself again. It was a most painful scene, my lords, most painful.
This is what it is to have 2 capacities. Let us be glad we are persons with no capacity whatever.
Come. Remember, you are a just and kindly old man, and need have no hesitation in approaching yourself, just as you do so respectably and with a proper show of deference.
Do you really think so?
I do.
Well, I will nerve myself to another effort, and if that fails, I resign myself to my fate.
If you go in, you're sure to win. Yours will be the charming maid.
By your law, the ancient song, faint, dead, one, fair lady.
Never, never, never faint, but never one fair lady. Every journey has an end, when the worst of is met. Dawn, the day is nigh. Hustle your horse and don't say die. Nothing venture, nothing win. Blood is thick, but water thin. In for a penny, in for a pound. Love that makes the world go round.
Oh, I suppose one ought to enjoy oneself when one leads both parties in Parliament as I do. But I'm a poor, miserable, broken-hearted fool that I am. Oh, Phyllis. Phyllis! But I suppose I should say my lady. I have not yet been informed which title your ladyship is pleased to select.
I haven't yet decided. You see, I have no mother to advise me.
No, I have.
Yes, a very young mother.
Not very, a couple centuries or so.
She wears well.
Yes, she does. She is a fairy.
I beg your pardon. A what?
Oh, there's no longer any reason to conceal the fact. She is a fairy.
A fairy? Why, that would account for a great many things. Then I suppose you are a fairy.
I'm half a fairy.
Which half?
Upper half, down to the waist.
Dear me, there's nothing to show it.
Oh, don't do that.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Because I thought you would take a dislike to me. But as it's all off, you might as well know the truth. I'm only half mortal.
But I'd rather have half a mortal that I do love than half a dozen that I don't.
Oh, I think not. Go to your half dozen.
There are only 2, and I hate them. Please forgive me.
I don't think I ought to. Besides, all kinds of complications would arise. You see, my grandmother looks quite as young as my mother does, and so do all my aunts.
I quite understand. Every time I
That's the usual course. If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, all the feeling I inspire, you may try by and by. For peers of flowing coffers, first they offer satisfy. I am sure we should not tarry ere we marry, you and I.
If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I. If the war attractive maiden to the maiden flesh and blood, perchance we should be born in love and born in flesh and die. So I think we will not tarry ere we marry, you and I.
If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, with the feeling I inspire, you may try by and by. All the feeling I inspire, you may try by and by.
If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I.
All the feeling I inspire, you may try by and by. So I think we should not tarry ere we marry, you and I, you and I, you and I.
Is she aware of our engagement?
She is. And thus she welcomes her daughter-in-law.
She kisses just like everybody else. But the Lord Chancellor!
I forgot about him. Mother, none can resist your fairy eloquence. Will you go to him and plead for us?
No, that is impossible.
But our happiness, our very lives depend upon obtaining his consent.
Oh, madam, you cannot refuse us this.
No, not that you ask. The Lord Chancellor, he is my husband.
Your husband?
My husband. And your father.
Why, then our course is plain. On his learning that Strephon is his son, all objections to our marriage will be at once removed.
Nay, he must never know. He believes me to have died childless. And dearly as I love him, I am bound under penalty of death not to deceive him. See, he comes. Quick, my veil.
Victory, victory! Success has crowned my efforts, and I may consider myself engaged to Phyllis. At first I wouldn't hear of it. It was out of the question. But I took heart. I pointed out that I was no stranger to myself. That, in point of fact, I'd been acquainted with myself for some years. I then admitted that I'd watched my professional advance with considerable interest, and yielded to no one in admiration for my private and professional virtues. And this was a great point gained. I then endeavored to work upon my feelings, conceive my joy when I distinctively perceived a tear glistening in my own eye. Eventually, after a severe struggle with myself, I reluctantly, most reluctantly, consented.
My lord, a suppliant at your feet I kneel. Oh, listen to a mother's fond appeal. Hear me tonight, I come in urgent need.
suggestion. The subtleties of the legal mind are equal to the emergency. The thing is really quite simple. The insertion of a single word will do it. Let it stand that every fairy shall die who don't marry a mortal. And there you are, out of your difficulty at once.
We like your humor. Very well. Private Willis, in order to save my life, it is necessary that I marry at once. How would you like to be a fairy guardsman?
Well, ma'am, I don't think much of the British soldier who wouldn't ill-convenience himself to save a female in distress.
You are a very brave fellow, sir. You are a fairy from this moment on. And how say you, my lords? Will you join our ranks?
Well, now that the peers are to be recruited solely of persons of intellect, I really don't see what use we're doing down here.
That's what happened.
Good. And away we go to fairyland. As you can see, everyone is now
show to do. We had two classes together. We combined two classes together, and then we had a bunch of other people that wanted to be in the show, and of students, and then I begged a lot of the faculty members to be in the show. And I'm very, very proud of each and every one of them, and Ms. Fox. And then I want to talk about Mary Hirschfield. I've ever been in contact with in a school situation. She's just this incredible lady. She's taken on the responsibility of the concessions and raised money for us and just worked herself to the bone to do this. And I want each and every one of you to know what a wonderful human being she is. All these people will be down in room 7, in 7A and 7B, and some maybe in the teacher's lounge, and you can tell them how wonderful they were, and then let them come right back up here. Okay, thank you all for coming.